Well, we're sitting here today at the Vancouver Film Studios offices here in Vancouver. I'm actually okay with it being dark because I'm a gloomy kind of person. I've been known to burst into flame on occasion when the sun is too bright. We'll show you where the offices are. We had our first big production meeting today. We've been in prep now for about 3 or 4 weeks, but this is when we have our first chance to bring the entire team together. And I think that it's a great team. We're in very good shape. My job, as I see it in leading this group of people, is to basically screw up the production as much as humanly possible. It was my idea initially, and they can confirm this, to shoot with sock puppets rather than real actors. I thought it would be innovative and imaginative and new. Warner's decided they wanted to be conventional and just use human actors. It's a blow because I had invested a lot of money into the socks, honestly, and that work was not appreciated. I let it go. I'm not bitter about it. They, again, refuse to see the wisdom of the creative, artistic choices that I'm trying to bring to bear here, but that's all right. I'm not bitter. We'll use the real actors, and we are now, as I said, about a week or so from shooting, and my first directorial shot in about 5 years. I thank Warner's for the chance to really do that and do a bad job of this, because I think if you say you're going to do a good job, people expect that. And if you do a bad job, then people say, well, he screwed it up, but we expected it. And I think that's the way to go. Action. Well, here we are on the Babylon 5 stages. We are now on the Thursday before the Monday we're going to shoot. Sets are going up, as you will see in a moment. This is going to be a cell in which someone will be held captive for a certain period of time. I'll take you through the rest of the area here. We go from here into the, well, I'll get that in a moment, but this is going to be a room in our station for Colonel Lockley, who's been promoted. This window will look out onto the stars, and she will come here and think about many, many grand and important things. The guys in carpentry and construction are working round the clock to make this all happen. Painters, overtime. This is the main arena on which our story is taking place. This is the green screen. We have painted the floor, and we have this massive site behind us here now, where we can create virtual environments, virtual sets, special effects. So this is going to be a large part of our show, a la Sin City, where we saw a lot of big CGI stuff going on. We do have some additional sets being built right now. These are all built to look like the original designs from Babylon 5, so the doors all match and the walls tend to match. And these cutouts here, okay, I have to tell the truth now. I have to be honest. See, the theory was, as I mentioned in the prior one of these video diaries, we were going to do the sock puppets, and this was meant to be one of the areas the sock puppets come through. Basically, you walk down. This would be like a giant city set, a giant cavernous city set, 5 miles high, with these windows in the side where you see people waving as you go by. So you walk along, and there'd be a ledge here, and a sock puppet Sheridan would come out to say, hello, how you doing? And they said we couldn't do the sock puppets thing. So we've had to now make the big city into a hallway. And again, the artistic vision isn't there that it was before, but we'll make it work somehow. So this is the hallway. And now we leave. So I'm standing here on probably what is one of the largest green screen stages up here in Vancouver. As you can see, it goes up quite a ways in this direction, and we paint the floor green as well. The concept behind the green screen and the green floor is it allows you to put the actors into virtual environments, not just to put a virtual wall behind them, but to have a virtual environment. So you can start and actually pan with the camera and with the actors and go around to create a three-dimensional environment. So the floors also go green. We put a cove along here that sort of softens off the gap. And it allows us to take our Star Furies, for instance, and take the cockpit and create around that the rest of the Star Fury. We use the interactive lighting coming around the front of the Star Fury to create the sense of the Star Fury moving around the sun or the star, so that as it moves, the light moves, and we can then use the green screen environment to recreate that same move in CG. So it gives the ship a sense of actual movement, that we're going someplace, and weds the real action footage and the CG footage together.
But I tell you, it is really difficult to work with this kind of green screen you know, behind you and all around you as well.
That way? From the other direction. Other direction?
Yeah.
I think so.
If I'm acting with Bruce here, then the cameras might be where you are, then they might come behind us, and they might come that side of us, and they might come that side of us. But Bruce and I, we don't swap positions, you know, so we're kind of used to this scenario here. But with green screen, the green screen is behind us. So we have to do the scene once like this, and then once like this, and then once like this, and then once like this, and once like this. And of course, every time I turn to Bruce, there's a different background, there's different lights, and there might be a cameraman there might be something completely different, the lighting looks different. It is so confusing.
In other cases, we will often use the black screen over here. If we want just a general sort of dark environment as we had the void in the dream sequence and the viewing room, we go to this, and what they do is they put up targets, these little bright LED dots, which allow them to map the CG onto those areas where we need them without getting in the way. This is the technology that allows us to do Babylon 5 in a much more creative fashion and liberating fashion, because you can do things now in this kind of environment that when we made B5 originally, you could never do. And over the next several weeks, we'll explore in more detail how that process happens. You'll come with us to post. We'll show you how you take the real action figures, real life figures, wed them to the CG and create new environments. So I'll see you over in post. So I'm here today at Atmosphere Special Effects. These are the guys who provide CGI for not only our show, but many other fine television movies and series and motion pictures. And we're going to show you today how you create the Babylon 5 universe, going from words on a page to the finished product. Showing things that actually you shouldn't be allowed to see, but it's you. And I know you so well, and why not? So come, walk this way. So this is the part of the DVD where we see things we have seen 100 times before in the course of production, as if we were seeing them for the first time. So let's all play along and pretend this is the first time. So Andrew, I'm astonished by this incredible environment you have here.
Thank you, Joe.
Can you show me the big board? The big board! 2001 music, we have to have it. Also Sprock Zarathustra, very important.
Very, very exciting.
Yes.
This is the show. What do you think?
Why is there a pony shot in here? There's no ponies in the show. There's a pony right over there.
I thought I'd try to slip that in. I thought
Really?
maybe you'd miss that, yeah.
Space ponies.
Yeah, ponies in space, very exciting stuff.
So explain us what this is.
These here are all of our shots for the show. You notice there's a lot of shots. Joe came to us, originally 2 shots. Kind of expanded a bit.
So how do you determine the numbers of the shots?
These are actually based on the scene numbers from the script. So scene 2, shot 2, the first shot in the scene, X01. Next shot in the scene, X03.
Yeah, so that's the number of the shot. And what's over here now?
Number of the shot. Next is our little picture, so we know what shot we're working on. Description, in this case, we're carrying the description down. Artist on the shot. Very important, the due date. Always problematic.
And what's the date today? January 26th.
Yeah.
February 2nd due date. What do you think?
These are going to be a little tricky. We'll make it
We're
work.
screwed.
So you can see we got a lot of shots. And
I'm not seeing the word done anywhere over here.
I think somebody erased it. We had one shot that was done. And, you know, it's kind of due in 2 weeks. I know it's kind of depressing.
Okay. So good. Well, this is the big board then.
This is the big board.
Let's go and see one of the actual artists. These are the guys who work for you to create the images we're going to see on the DVD. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. So show us the typical working environment of one of these artists.
So this is one of our artists' suites.
So what do we have
exactly.
in front of us? What are we looking at here?
We're looking at the light kit for the station, which I'm going to do a couple tweaks to.
And what is a light kit?
The light kit is basically all of the station's self-illumination. So all of the blinking lights, spotlights on the heat dissipating panels, things like that. There's quite a few of them now compared to the old version. And we render this by itself with no other lighting, and then it gets comped in over top of the other passes of the station. This is, at least I think, one of the cooler shots in this show, which is the battle scene dream sequence shot.
Right.
All in its previs form, so these are just the rough boxes surrounding the geometry, which is the only thing that the machine can display in any kind of reasonable time frame. So it's the only thing that gives you a sense of decent motion when you're just scrubbing with the mouse like this, in order to get a proper sense of what the animation is going to look like. I would have to render out a preview, which would just be a wireframe or shaded.
But when you pause it,
preview.
you can see the ships.
Yeah, they
at that point.
they render out reasonably quickly. They're all low-res models. Actually, some of them, like this Star Fury right here, is the original model from the old show.
Cool.
So a lot of the original models that we ended up salvaging from various places we're using for previs, just because they're light enough that we can do that and not have to bother spending time building specific previs objects. This one was a little bit tricky. It took a couple of days. The camera is traveling with ships and then transitions to watching the overall scene. So getting a kind of transition point and making sure it's all smooth and elegant, the way that it switches viewpoints between fast-moving fighters and larger capital ships.
So Thierry is, he's currently working on the fiery cathedral with some lovely fiery elements, columns, which are very cool. So again, this is just one element. We're also, the floor is going to be another fiery element. We'll have stuff in the background. There'll be a ceiling on it. And this is the plate he's quickly put into 3D space. And we're going to be doing this really cool push-in shot on one of our characters. It'll be really quite cool. This is just a preliminary sort of mock-up to give us a rough idea of what it was going to look like. Paul is working on the interior of the Star Fury.
So this is basically just some support struts on the side there, and buttons and various screens displaying all the information.
This is the pilot's point of view piloting a Star Fury.
Yep, so this is what Sheridan would be looking at as he's looking through his screen here. And we have some graphics that'll go on there, and radars and all the high-tech gizmos that'll be bleeping and blooping. So from here, kind of get our graphics laid out in 2D here and make them look all fancy and like they're really complex.
That's a HUD display on top of the actual object in the background.
Yeah, this screen here will be projected in this main monitor here, and then reflections in the glass, and this will all be...
So is this his personal altitude control, or is that the other ship?
Oh, let's see. This is more of a design of the other ship, so it's got some kind of...
The friend of foe recognition system?
Yeah, there you go. Still some work to do, but I think it's coming along.
Now, where's the iPod go? One of the major set pieces on Babylon 5: The Lost Tales is set in a New York of the future where many, many very bad things happen. And this is Jeremy, who is designing our futuristic New York.
Hi, my name's Jeremy Hoey. I'm one of the partners here at Atmosphere Visual Effects, and I'm also the senior and at the present only digital matte painter. It's my job to create environments and backdrops and set extensions to create worlds and sets that don't exist in real life, or too expensive to build practically, or to recreate locations that it's just much cheaper to do digitally than it is to take a crew out. So I have a pretty wide-ranging brief, and it's a lot of fun because I get to dip my fingers into all kinds of different areas, like some 3D, some Photoshop, sometimes a bit of compositing. And I'm responsible on this show for creating the matte paintings for the Destruction of New York sequence. My starting point was to take some photographs of New York. I happened to be in New York last October for a friend's wedding, and this was the view from the building where she had her reception. So luckily the rays of the sun were coming low, and I got a great picture. I did a panorama picture of Central Park, and I've just stitched them together, and that's going to form the basis of my matte painting, upon which I'll build and add a lot of very tall buildings and make it look like New York several hundred years in the future. So the first thing I've kind of done is to extend the sky up a bit. I had some other sky plates that I shot in Montreal several years ago that came in very handy, similar lighting to New York. And since then I've been building a number of 3D elements of buildings for both the foreground and the background. I want to build New York up and make it look much larger than
New York isn't really big enough.
New York isn't really big enough, not as it stands now. You figure we've got 400 years of growth that we've got to get in there. But I'm just roughing this stuff in. I've been shuffling buildings around and seeing compositionally what works, and I'm slowly starting to sort of hone in on what might provide quite a sort of dynamic composition. I wanted to get a real sense of depth in here because one of the later shots will be massive beams of energy shooting down from the sky and utterly destroying the whole city. So we want to have a massive beam working its way through, just like plowing through Central Park and tearing up buildings as it moves towards camera. So a lot of this is going to be 3D. We're going to have some 3D cars swooping through the scene. Obviously early days for that yet, but when we get towards the end of the process, we'll be animating those and adding those in. Here's some deep background elements for the city, just to sort of fill in the skyline way off into the distance to give that sense of New York as being a truly humongous city. Once I've rendered out 3D elements, I'll just place them in Photoshop, and that's where I can tweak all the color corrects and I can gently massage them into the scene. And eventually, this will hopefully look quite realistic. I'll be basically taking this matte painting and all of these buildings I'll be tearing up, making them charred and blackened and twisted, and basically New York City after rays of destruction have completely totaled it, but still seeing some recognizable forms of the city. So it'll be an interesting balancing act to achieve.
Excellent. Very good. So I'm standing here with Greg Mady from Warner Brothers, and this is a great day for us here at the Babylon 5 stage because, as you know, there's been some questions, some confusion about the whole sock puppet issue, and I got Greg to come up here on the pretext of trouble on the set. We talked about it on the phone, and well, trouble on the set was mentioned anyway, that there was trouble, but it doesn't matter. We got him up here now, and I can show him the sock puppet concept, and he can see for himself exactly what we had in mind, and maybe we can reshoot this whole thing and kind of start fresh with the original idea. So I've arranged for a demonstration over here to show you what I'm talking about. So for instance, Londo is a very popular character, as you know, with all the fans, and he's big on the color purple. It's a royal color, it's very important. So for Londo, we have this. Well, the hair isn't actually there yet, but it's a start, and that would be the Londo look, and I think it really captures the essence of who the character is, and the fans would love that. And next up we would have Sheridan. Now I know this isn't Sheridan as you're used to seeing him, but there is the gray hair thing going on, and he wears a necklace during the show. I'm not quite sure what the eyes are about because they look kind of like they got stitched together like a horror movie, but we can fix that. We can fix that down the road, make that better. Next up we have, this is kind of my favorite, this is Galen. And Galen is wearing the leather cloak, and it has the whole sense of mystery. Here you can notice, for instance, the eyes are kind of like X's. That's the concept on Galen. So this is your call ultimately, Greg, because I think it's important. This is Lockley. We have, you notice, the hair, which is very nice, the command badges. And I think really no one has seen this before. So with your permission, I want to go ahead and try this on a reshoot. So what do you think? So I think the silence of the network and the studio representative here really speaks to the fact of the confidence that they have in this production. He was overwhelmed, obviously, and speechless. And I think that this is going to be the wave of the future for Babylon 5. I'm proud to be a part of this, and I appreciate the support from Warner Brothers, and we look forward to talking about this some more. Greg.
Tired of you guys crawling inside my head and showing me this kind of crap every time I think that my life is finally going okay for a change. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you people? Don't you have any other hobbies?
Well, that's hardly what I'd call a warm welcome. Not a hello, old friend, good to see you again. Maybe a hug or a peck on the cheek in a manly sort of way.
Why show me this stuff? Why me? Because for those of us who dwell in the infinite space between science and magic, between illusion and ultimate truth.
Sorry, can I go again?
I'm good with that.